Chapter 708, Reinforced Experiment. Deng Yuanbo shook his head. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to help me deal with anyone. As long as you complete this mission well, that's enough. He stared at Jangi and said, word for word, what you have to accomplish is more perfect than the Samsara squad, and that's enough. After listening, Jangi suddenly realized that Deng Yuanbo's goal was to make him block Gao Changkong's path to promotion. You suspect Gao Changkong? Not just Gao Changkong. Deng Yuanbo said sternly. This mission must be completed by you, and you will become a banner we will focus on promoting. Someone killed my nephew because they wanted to use this as an opportunity to reshuffle Blizzard City. This, I, an old man, will never agree to. Only if you, an outsider, deal with this matter will there be no major changes to the situation in Blizzard City. Jangi did not completely believe the old man's words. The other party was a 1,000-year-old fox, and was many times better than him at playing mind games and scheming. If he trusted the other party's words, he might get sold out. However, you mean to say that you helped me and my companions improve our strength just so that I could take over Eclipse Moon and earn great credit? To prevent this credit from falling into someone else's hands? Well, that's right, Uncle Deng nodded. Now, whoever captures Eclipse Moon will receive the highest prestige in Blizzard City. Because they are from Neon, they are very special. You should understand. This explanation was barely acceptable to Jangi. The Deng family had undergone major changes, and the last thing they feared was a reshuffling of the power structure in Blizzard City. Only by preventing others from receiving this huge credit could the Deng family slowly stabilize. Regardless of all this, Jangi was very interested in the matter of helping the members of his team improve their strength, as mentioned by Deng Yuanbo. How are you going to help us improve our strength? Just use that X compound. Deng Yuanbo, however, laughed a little like a cunning thief. His smile didn't look like that of a good person, but rather like that of Uncle Li, the thief. That thing is not very useful for you. It is meant for use by the people around you. Jangi, huh? So this thing doesn't work for me? Uncle Deng Yuan said, you have actually absorbed the essences of many aliens after many battles. To be honest, I am surprised that the soil of the outer city can cultivate an alien of your level. However, you have done it, which is nothing short of a miracle. Zhang mind flashed past the figure of Yuan Kongya. In the beginning, Yuan Kongya absorbed the essences of more than 30 aliens and unlocked the epsilon-level power that belonged to her. In the end, Zhang absorbed some of her remaining source of power. After all was said and done, that was an amazing fortune. If not for that, he would not have been able to reach such a level of strength. It was just a matter of chance, Zhang said indifferently. Deng Yuanbo said, although I don't know what kind of adventures you've been through, right now, you've obviously reached a bottleneck. At this stage, it's already difficult to increase your strength by devouring the source of power of aliens. Of course, Compound X can't do it either. He said, reaching out and picking up a Celadon teacup from the side table. It's just like this teacup, its capacity is only so big, and it can only hold so much water. No matter how hard you pour water into it, it will just overflow. Zhang quickly understood the meaning of what Uncle Deng had said. You mean, increase one's capacity? Uncle Deng nodded with satisfaction. Yes, that's right. Zhang mind flashed the figure of Deng Shintong. He shook his head and laughed playfully. You haven't mastered this method yet, have you? If you could do it, Deng Shintong wouldn't just be Delta level. When it came to Deng Shintong, Deng Yuanbo sighed again. Shintong has indeed reached a bottleneck, Delta is his bottleneck. We have been trying to break through this biological limit so that he can produce more powerful mutations. However, the field of genetics was the realm of the gods, and it was not so easy for mortals to touch it. Having said that, he pointed at Zhang with the hand holding the teacup. You are the same. Even though your strength is now a bit weaker than the captain of the investigation team, it is extremely difficult to improve it in a short period of time. Therefore, improving your partner is the most cost-effective approach. He picked up the teapot and poured himself a cup of tea. As he drank, his gaze passed through the transparent French windows and rested on Liangyu in the next room, who was resting with her long sword in her hands. Forcibly increasing one's strength requires a strong enough vessel and a magnanimous enough disposition. Otherwise, one cannot withstand the infusion of huge amounts of energy in a short period of time. Not everyone is suitable for this experiment. One must choose someone with excellent aptitude and a strong mind. The martial artist by your side, she is a piece of pure jade. If her abilities can be developed, I believe she will not be inferior to you. She will be a good helper for you. With Deng Yuan's abilities, investigating Liangyu's identity and background was a very simple matter. Liangyu's background was eye-opening to say the least. She had practiced martial arts for 3 generations, and her grandfather and father were both masters of Chinese martial arts. Liangyu was proficient in more than 300 types of martial arts, including practical foreign martial arts. At the age of 17, she became a martial arts athlete of the Wuyang level and had served as a bodyguard for high-level officials. To be able to do all this, it would be an insult to describe her as 1 in 10,000. She was at least 1 in a million. Uncle Deng Yuan looked at Jangi next to him without saying a word. In his opinion, Liangyu, who had a higher level of comprehensive quality, had much more room for growth than Jangi. After all, he understood very well just how hellishly rigorous the selection process was for someone to become a bodyguard in that place. And Jangi? He was just a small warehouse manager in Tianhai City. Even if he was talented, he was no match for Liangyu, an outstanding talent who had been rigorously trained since childhood. What do you say, Jangi? Do you want to accept my help? It will only do you good, not harm. In order to deal with the battles ahead, you also need someone you can trust. Jangi stared at Deng Yuan with shoes, slightly frowning, torn between heaven and earth. Could he trust Deng Yuanbo? It was hard to say. But obviously, this was a very good opportunity. If it weren't for what happened to Deng Shintong, the Deng group wouldn't have been able to help him. It would be a pity to let it slip. Uncle Deng didn't rush Jangi, and even said thoughtfully, "This is something you really need to think about carefully. After all, you don't have much of a relationship with the Deng family, and it's only natural to be suspicious of us. But this is really a rare opportunity for you. I hope you can seize the future." Jangi took a deep breath. "I need to think about it. It won't take long, so please give me some time." Deng Shintong laughed and said, "Of course." Jangi couldn't make up his mind, so he decided to go and discuss it with Yang Xinxin. Chapter 709, Liangyu is willing to go. Jangi quickly went to the next room and found Yang Xinxin and Liangyu. He asked the two of them to come over and discussed the matter in a low voice. This was a golden opportunity that could not be missed. He didn't want to delay it for too long, and besides, Eclipse Moon would make a comeback at any time, so time was of the essence. A decision had to be made quickly. After listening to Zhang argument, Liangyu was suddenly tempted. The Deng family must have a relatively comprehensive grasp of alien genetic technology. It was said that the genetic potions in Blizzard City were developed with their help. Liangyu desperately wanted to improve her own strength. She said to Zhang, "I'm willing to give it a try. After all, the risk is mine to bear, so you can let me try first. If it works and there are no side effects, then let others try it." Zhang glanced at her and said, "Have you always been so brave? I really don't know what to say about her." Liangyu always had an inexplicable sense of justice and dedication in her heart. But in Zhang's opinion, it was a bit too reckless not to take her own life seriously. Liangyu said helplessly, "What can we do? We're going to fight Eclipse Moon again soon. If we don't improve our combat power, we'll only be slowing you down." She thought about the last time, and she had simply been there for show. If she wasn't by Zhang's side, she asked herself, could she have defeated the Eclipse Moon stranger? The probability was that she couldn't. The Eclipse Moon stranger had devoured the essences of countless strangers. And her? In the past, she has always picked up what Zhang left behind. Although she has previously swallowed the essences of 2 eclipse moons, the increase in strength still does not satisfy her. She wants to become stronger and stronger, so that she will have the strength to protect everyone around her. She no longer wants to experience the feeling of powerlessness when someone she values is lost for the second time. At this time, Yang Xingxin also spoke after careful consideration. I don't think we can accept the conditions they have proposed. Jangi let out an "oh." Xingxin, what do you think? Yang Xingxin looked at Jangi and then Liangyu, and whispered, the Deng family has no reason to harm us. Right now Blizzard City needs your abilities, and you have accepted the mission, so they will have to protect you even more. So they won't harm you at this time, but instead will do their best to help you defeat Eclipse Moon to save the face of the entire Jiangnan region. There was something else Yang Xingxin didn't say. Even if the other party would play tricks, as long as it was Liangyu and not Jangi going, the risk would be acceptable. In her eyes, anything that didn't involve Jangi was a trivial matter. Liangyu saw that Yang Xingxin also suggested accepting the Deng family's help, and said, Jangi, let me go. Jangi looked deeply at Liangyu. After some thought, he decided to cooperate with the Deng family. Because if Liangyu succeeded, then perhaps other people could become stronger in this way too. So Jangi nodded vigorously. He returned to Deng Yuanbu's study and expressed his attitude. We are willing to accept the Deng family's help. However, there is a remark that may sound impolite, so I will say it first. Zhang eyes carried a warning. You took the initiative to help us, and we can be considered to have each other's backs. So, we don't owe you anything. It's true that I am grateful. But if I find out that you took the opportunity to secretly do something to my companion, Zhang Yi's voice turned cold, I won't pretend that nothing has happened. Deng Yuanbu smiled, picked up the teacup in his hands, and took a slow sip. Of course you can. Zhang Yi and Deng Yuanbu discussed the specifics of the help. This required Liangyu to go over there and undergo their experiment. In simple terms, it was actually a form of artificial. Using genetic means, the potential of a different person was quickly developed. For example, Zhang Yi had very powerful strength, but if he had not swallowed the energy of a different person many times, he would not have reached the point he was at today. Otherwise, even if he had the potential of a delta, his abilities would not have been high when he first awakened. The classification of aliens does not represent the strength of their abilities, but the level of their talent. Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon. Each classification of supernormal ability represents a higher upper limit and stronger talent. It's like the N, R, SR, SSR, and U in card games. The age of full mutation has just arrived, and the classification of aliens is relatively general. It can only be divided according to the obvious differences between the levels. In fact, within the same level, there is also a large gap in talent, depending on the type of ability. The higher the alien ability level, the faster the strength will increase, and the higher the upper limit will be. However, there is also the possibility that powerful aliens with untapped potential will die at the hands of low-level aliens or even ordinary people. This is why, despite being of the same Delta level, the head of the investigation team in Blizzard City could easily kill the Lord of the Outer City in seconds. Blizzard City uses science and technology to maximize the potential of aliens. However, most aliens in the Outer City are growing almost barbarically, and their abilities have not yet been cultivated. Liangyu, on the other hand, was like an ultra-rare SSR card in terms of her talent. Her innate quality could be considered the limit of humanity. If she is given a knife, she can fight close-up with an alien without using any of her abilities. After becoming an alien, no one can predict just how high her ceiling is. Liangyu was very open-minded, and she came to Deng Yuanbu very generously. Mr. Deng, please. Deng Yuanbu's eyes shone when he looked at Liangyu, as if he had seen the brilliance of a jade in her, as if he had discovered Bianhe, the discoverer of the He Sure Bai. Zhang Yi said, I have to keep in contact with her every day, and this must be guaranteed. Deng Yuanbu nodded, you are very cautious, but this time I am sincere in helping you. If you are not at ease, I can even allow you to live in the Deng garden and live with her. Jangi thought about it and ultimately rejected the offer. The situation in Blizzard City today is unclear, and he did not want to do anything that would obviously make people misunderstand that he was a member of the Deng family. Deng Yuanbo took a step forward. Actually, you can also try our package. Maybe there is still a lot of room in your upper limit. Zhang Yi shook his head with a smile. That's not necessary. Deng Yuanbo said with a smile, if you figure it out, you can come find me at any time. I'm sure you'll come back. Zhang Yi exchanged a few polite words and avoided the topic.